What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Unpopular Opinion, and today I'm going to be discussing the 2014 movie Whiplash, and I'm going to be explaining why I think this is one of the greatest movies ever made. Guys, I genuinely believe, I'm going to make a prediction. You give it a couple decades, I guarantee there are going to be film professors and film critics, or even general movie lovers. They're going to hail this as one of the greatest movies of all time. So today I'm going to be explaining why it is that I think this will be seen as one of the greats. So let's just jump right into this video. Firstly, guys, it was directed by Damien Chazelle. It's starring Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons, and it tells the story of a young man who is ambitious and he wants to be one of the greatest musicians of all time. He's a young jazz drummer, so he joins a prestigious band in a prestigious university or institution, school, whatever you want to call it. But the jazz band conductor, the leader of the band, is super hardcore. He's not just a tough love hard ass. This guy is super hardcore. So much so that he reminds me of Arlie Ermey from Full Metal Jacket. He might even be better than Arlie Ermey in Full Metal Jacket. And that's kind of hard to admit because that's my favorite movie. But basically, this film just shows the toll it takes on this kid, where his ambition, his passion, it walks the fine line between desire, want, passion, and a healthy drive, and literal insanity. And it's a brilliant film that speaks to a lot of people, relates to a lot of people, and is much more than just a musician movie. So firstly, I want to say I can personally relate to this film in a weird way. Guys, I know you're not going to believe this. This is probably going to be the most unbelievable thing you've heard from me. I can relate to this movie a lot because I was in the band when I was a kid. Yes, it is true. I was a band kid, believe it or not. I played instruments since the 3rd grade up until the 9th grade. I was in band from elementary into middle school and into high school. Hated it in high school. I hated the marching band. The marching band was terrible, but middle school and elementary band was pretty cool. Now, mind you, I didn't have an instructor like Fletcher, a psychopath or anything. A lot of my band teachers were actually pretty cool people. However, it is undeniable that there were some music teachers that I've encountered, and a lot of people can back this up, who had the same mindset as Fletcher, or who were not nice people, who would sometimes expect way too much of their students and push them way too hard. And a lot of the things in this movie that musicians go through, I actually went through and can relate to. For example, the scene where Andrew misplaces the folder, our main character Neiman, he misplaces another student's folder and screws him, and he's like, I can't play in this concert because you lost my folder.
Why would you give it to Neiman? You give a calculator to a retard, he's gonna try to turn on a TV with it.
That happened to me before. I was about to go into a concert, I had my violin ready, and someone broke my bow, and I couldn't play in it.
Now get your sticks and get your ass on stage.
Relatable. Or how the next day a student was like, hey, you stay away from my folder, I don't want you coming near my stuff.
Hey, don't fucking touch my folder, man.
It happened all the time. There was some girl who hated me, and she played the xylophones. She was like, stay away from my set. I don't want you near this thing. Been there.
Do not touch this kid.
Or the ending scene where Andrew doesn't know the music and he can't play it. I've been there before. The first time I was doing a marching band performance at one of the football games in high school, I played the tuba. I was the only tuba player on the field. I didn't know the music. I didn't have it memorized. I couldn't memorize it, and I screwed myself, and I looked really bad, and it was really embarrassing. So a lot of these things I can really relate to. Again, it's not even in the same level, not even in the same league of intensity as this, but I can watch this and it brings back nostalgia. So to circle back to the main plot, our main character, Andrew Neiman, he starts out the movie as more of like a shy, kind, reserved kid. And then when he gets introduced to Fletcher, Fletcher is this like really commanding, serious, hardcore musical conductor of the jazz band. He's really prestigious, and he drives his kids way too hard because he, in his mind, has the attitude of there's nothing more harmful than telling someone they're doing a good job. Never settle or be complacent with just good. Always push them above and beyond to strive for something that they never thought they could. And if they fail, they never had it in them. If they overcame, I'm the one who brought that out of them. And this leads him to do a lot of really questionable things, such as hitting his students, berating them, manipulating them, being just really hardcore about it. It's one thing to be tough love, but this guy is hardcore. Making students cry.
Say it louder! I'm upset! Start practicing harder, Neiman.
But the thing about Fletcher, played by J.K. Simmons masterfully, is not only is he powerful and scary, because he's a scary bully. Like, this guy's, like, you don't want to cross this guy's path, but it's how disarming he can be. And I feel weird calling him the villain but he is kind of the villain in this movie. The thing that's really scary about him, the guy's like the devil, because the devil is really disarming. The devil can be really charming and can be really sweet and silver-tongued and make you lower your guard. And when you lower your guard, that's when he strikes. And when you're at your most vulnerable, he just crushes you.
You are a worthless, friendless, faggot-lipped little piece of shit whose mommy left daddy.
And wears you down to the nub and then builds you back up into exactly what he wants you to be. And that was really scary.
If I ever find one of these lying around again, I swear to fucking God, I will stop being so polite.
The first time we see him, he walks into the room when Andrew's practicing, and Andrew's kind of just like shy. Oh, I want to impress this guy. And then he walks away.
I asked why you stopped playing, and your version of an answer was to turn into a wind-up monkey.
And he's like, damn, I don't think I left a good impression. And then he's peeking in on the classes. And we see, all right, this guy's kind of a hard ass.
Get the fuck out of my sight before I demolish you.
And then he yells at a kid and tells the kid to take a hike.
Why are you still sitting there? Get the fuck out!
And then he has a nice, calm, friendly conversation with Andrew. And he's like, yeah, just have fun. And Andrew's going in. He's like, all right, I'm here to have fun. I have a great opportunity. And that's when Fletcher strikes and just crushes him in front of everybody. Seriously, that rushing or dragging scene where he's smacking him.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3.
Now, was I rushing or was I dragging?
Like, you can't even read music. You're not on my tempo. That's one of the most intense scenes in cinema history.
Count again.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2.
And another thing I really like about this movie, guys, the direction in this film, or the overall filmmaking atmosphere of it, was brilliant. First of all, visually, the movie's very stunning. Anywhere from the cinematography or the editing, you see those close-ups or the slow motion sequences, or like where like the sound kind of fades out and you're just looking at the visuals of the players just banging away at the drums in exhaustion. Brilliant stuff. And the visual mood of the movie, it's that of like The Godfather. It's like yellow but filmed in the shadows, and it just makes it really intense, and I really appreciate that. It just goes to show a movie that doesn't rely on violence or action or profanity or anything inappropriate like that can be just super, super intense, like laser intensity of dread, anxiety, but excitement all in once. It's fantastic. And Andrew Neiman, he starts out the movie as like a young, kind of reserved, shy, excited kid. And throughout his experiences with Fletcher, it just transforms him and he's becoming more gung-ho and hardcore himself. And there's a battle royale between the two personalities where he's trying to prove himself. He wants to be a great so badly, but he also wants the approval of Fletcher so badly that the guy is going through hell. And what's brilliant about this movie is, well, we all know people like Fletcher. Either we've had a boss like Fletcher, a teacher, or we have a friend, or maybe you yourself are like, there's a certain aspect of my life where I'm like that. So we all know people like that. It's not inescapable. It's not unlost between a lot of us. And then Andrew, everyone's had a goal in their life where they're willing to do just about anything to achieve it. And then when you achieve it, you're like, wow, I went through this to do that. And look what it cost me. Because Andrew, he ostracized his friends. You see him having conflict and tension between his family. And he gets a girlfriend. These two see each other at the movies a lot. And they seem to have chemistry. And he just tells her in a very cold, callous way, you're a distraction. You're going to get in the way. And I got to turn my back on you. So it just goes to show you, Fletcher is the dominant one, and his personality is the more commanding, but Andrew's challenging him and just desperately wants his approval, and they're going back and forth. It's just incredible.
Fuck you, Fletcher! Fuck you!
Again, it really highlights and really makes you think, at what point does passion become insanity? And that's what's brilliant about this movie. So another thing I really like is, I think the dialogue is pretty sharp. I think J.K. Simmons' performance is one of the greatest performances in cinema history. It's no wonder he won the Oscar. Miles Teller did a standout job and a phenomenal job. You really see him struggling. You really see him and the toll it takes on the guy. But Fletcher is one of the most interesting characters in cinema history. And I think the ending was phenomenal. So basically, like, Fletcher is so callous and he's so laser focused in on, I'm trying to be a successful conductor and I want one great. I want someone to be a great student and a great musician and I can claim him as I was his mentor. He's like, I want a Charlie Parker, and that leads him to do crazy things. And there was one scene in the movie that I thought was really intense. So he gets a phone call and he finds out that one of his former students has died, and he's moved. You think he's sad, and it's like, well, maybe this guy's not so uncaring after all, because it looks like he hugged a former student and was talking to a little girl and was like really nice. You can tell that this guy can be friendly. So he's maybe not just a hard ass after all. And he's like, oh, a former student, a brilliant band player, a brilliant musician just died in a car wreck. I'm very, very sad. But then you find out that's not true. You find out that he pushed the kid way too hard, and because of his ruthless, brutal methods, he caused the kid to kill himself. And he wasn't so much sad that he lost a former student. He's sad that he's like, well, he could have been a great musician, and the world's been deprived of me musician. Not, oh no, this kid's death is on my hands. It just shows you like the mindset of the man. He's a pure psychopath. And then Not for Not, the scene where Andrew, he wants to play the part so badly that he gets into a car accident and he's still willing to go on stage. And Fletcher's not, you're a bloody mess, let's call an ambulance. He's just like, I don't care. You made me look bad in front of the audience. You're done.
Demon, you're done.
And what comes of that is finally Andrew, after going through hell, taking all this abuse from Fletcher, literally abuse, the guy's smacking him around. His personal life is falling apart. He's worked so hard for this and it's taken away from him. It's robbed from him. That he attacks him and tackles him on stage. He gets kicked out of the Schaefer Institute, and he talks to a lawyer and he files a formal complaint and gets Fletcher fired because the whole student killing himself thing that was brought to light. And he was like, no, I can verify that, yes, he pushes his students way too hard and he's absolutely responsible for this kid taking his own life. So he gets fired. And the ending, oh my gosh, the ending is one of the greatest endings of all time. Basically, Andrew's no longer at the Schaefer Institute and he's walking down the streets. He's not a drummer anymore, but he stumbles into a jazz band bar and he sees Fletcher just playing on the piano and he's like, shit, I hope he didn't see me. I hope he didn't see me. And then they're having a drink with each other. And the lighting, I'm telling you, the visual lighting is so intense. And it's just the two having a conversation. Our protagonist and the villain are having a nice, polite, cordial conversation where Fletcher is explaining his mind.
I wonder why jazz is dying. Every Starbucks jazz album just proves my point.
His modus operandi and where he's coming from. And throughout all this conversations, he says to himself, you know I made some enemies. You think he's going to say mistakes, but no. In his mind, he did nothing wrong.
There are no two words more harmful than good job.
And the way he explains it, Andrew and you, the audience, are kind of like, wow, I see where this guy's coming from.
But is there a line? You go too far and you discourage the next Charlie Parker.
Maybe he's not such a bad guy after all.
No, man, no. Because the next Charlie Parker would never be discouraged.
Which is what makes him such a compelling, dangerous guy, because this was all a setup. And he says, hey, I'm actually doing very well. I'm conducting a professional band at a really prestigious event. I would really like it. We can make amends. It would mean so much to me if you played. Or would you play with the band, being the drummer? So he's really excited. He's like, I have a shot at being great again. Right when everything's set up, he's like, oh, I'm so excited. Thanks for inviting me. On stage, he just pulls the carpet out from under his feet and goes like,
You think I'm fucking stupid?
What?
I know it was you.
and he's like, what? And he deliberately sabotages Andrew by having the band play a song that he's never rehearsed, that he doesn't know the music to, and it embarrasses him. It makes him look really bad. And not only is Fletcher willing to make himself and the band look bad just to humiliate Andrew and disgrace him and potentially ruin a musical career, he's smirking at him the whole time like, maybe you're not one of the greats after all. Goodbye, Andrew. And Andrew walks away in utter shame, utter humiliation. And his father embraces him, but he's like, I'm not going out this way. And he returns to the stage and he kind of leads a musical mutiny where Fletcher's like, what's he doing back? And then he's like, all right, here we go. And then he just starts playing impromptu and uncalled for. He starts playing and he leads the other musicians and saying, follow my lead, I'll cue you in. Impugns on Fletcher's authority and kind of just takes the performance as his own. And he leads the band, and Fletcher at first is pissed and he's like, I'll gouge out your eye. And he smashes the band cymbal or the drum cymbal and it hits him in the face. I'll gouge out your motherfucking eye. And it's just like, oh, nice. It just shows you the power struggle between the two. It's not over. Even when you think they've made amends, they're still at each other. The performance was a wonderful performance. Andrew does a great job. He redeems himself, but not only does he redeem himself, he actually impresses Fletcher so much that Fletcher is like, hey, I'm gonna help you through this. And he has a drum solo, and in the drum solo, you can see him working really hard, and he nails it. And Fletcher's like, I'm gonna coach you through this. All right, you got this, I got this. All right, slow down. Oh, careful. Slow. High. Pick it up. Okay, I'm gonna keep, bam, and then the two lock eyes. And finally, at the end of everything, Neiman has the respect from Fletcher, and Fletcher finally has a great musician. He finally has his Charlie Parker. And I hear a lot of people always say online, well, this is a grim ending because, you know, that means Fletcher wins in the end. And that's... There's no wrong answer. That's what I love about this ending. It makes you think. The first time I saw this movie, I watched it with my parents. My first thought was, wow, after all this, after everything we went through with Fletcher, I can't believe I ended up liking him in the end. He screwed Andrew over, got him kicked out of the Schaefer Institute, humiliated him, but then he coached him through an awesome drum solo, and I ended up liking him in the end. And my mom's like, you're out of your mind. Fletcher's an evil monster. And I was like, there's no wrong answer, because he is a monster. Does he win in the end? Yeah. He does, because this didn't hurt his reputation. He's doing fine. He's still a well-off, musical, respected conductor. He still had his band at a prestigious event, play an awesome gig, but he also finally achieved what he always wanted, which is to get to be a mentor to an amazing musician. And what does Andrew get in the end? Well, he's an amazing musician, and we don't know what's gonna happen to him. Because here's the thing about Charlie Parker in real life, like the guy OD'd and died in his 30s. So it just goes to show you that sometimes the cost of success is a really high price to pay. It's like that famous quote from Blade Runner, the candle that burns twice as bright burns half as long, and if you waste so much or you put so much into trying to accomplish one thing, it might come at a horrible price. So we really don't know, and that's what I love about this film. He finally gets the respect from Fletcher. He's finally one of the greats, or he will be one of the greats, or it's ambiguous, and it's brilliant. Not only that, but the music displayed in the movie was really, really awesome. The musical talent, like the pieces they played, Caravan, Whiplash, it's enjoyable to listen to. So even if you're not a musician or a performing arts type, you could still find enjoyment in this movie and be like, hey, this is actually pretty cool. I really like this. But again, it's the small stuff. If you were in performing arts, if you did play an instrument in school, the little things, like you see the players wetting their reeds, they're sucking on their reeds to make them ready for practice. Or I think the thing that this movie succeeds in is you're put in Andrew's shoes and you see things through his perspective in such a genius way.
Was I rushing or was I dragging?
You see him in the beginning. He's in the new band. No one likes being the new guy. You really feel that. Whether you're the new guy at the gym, at school, at work, or whatever, you feel it. And you have to earn your way and earn your respect within this group. Also, like the character of Conley, you see him, he's a nice kid. They're not rivals. But then because Andrew is so lasered in and wants to accomplish this, because we're on his side, we end up hating this Conley guy, or at least I do, for no reason. And Conley's nothing but just a rival, and he's been nothing but nice to Andrew. Seriously, just a genius film. Like I said, I find it remarkable that a movie with basically no violence in it, no action, or really any sort of like sexual things or sex appeal like that can really leave a lasting impact and a mark, a legacy of brilliance, because the dialogue is sharp, the character of Fletcher is undeniably amazing. In fact, someone did a really awesome character analysis of him. It's called Analyzing Evil. I think the YouTube channel is called The Evil Eye, and the way he dissects the character of Fletcher, it's spot on, and it's brilliant, so I really recommend you check out that video. Because J.K. Simmons did an amazing job. The lines, like, he just keeps coming up with lines that are fucking brilliant. Crazy, creative, and fun like that. How many times do I have to say it? At what point does passion become insanity? And that's what this movie really is. So guys, that's all I have for you. That's why I think this movie is a brilliant film. That's why I think it's going to stand the test of time as one of the greatest films of all time. Even if you're not a performing arts person, even if you're not a musician, you can still find things in it that are amazing. You can still appreciate the visual mood, the intensity, cinematography, the direction, the performances, all of it. Stellar. One of the greatest films ever, and it's got one of the greatest villains ever. Honestly, I think, in my opinion, there's nothing greater than a psychological villain. A villain who uses his mind to manipulate people, to abuse people, and to make them bend to his will. Because that's what Fletcher is. He's on par with Hannibal Lecter, maybe not as good as Hannibal Lecter, but the same quality of villain. He torments this kid Andrew, and because Andrew is unable to keep up with this, he falls right into Fletcher's trap every single time. And every time he comes out of the trap, Fletcher and him are still going at it, and you're still like, I wonder what's happening next. Andrew's probably gonna go back for more. So I think it's a genius movie. If you haven't seen it, I highly suggest you watch it. I think you would love it. And yeah, underrated is not enough. I'm not going to settle for underrated. I'm going to say it's one of the greatest films ever made. Well, guys, that's all I have for you. That's my opinion on the movie Whiplash. Fantastic movie, amazing movie, and I really highly recommend it. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please do me a massive favor and hit that thumbs up, like this video, hit the subscribe button, comment below what you thought. Let me know your opinions on Whiplash. Let me know your opinions on the movie in general. Did you like it? Did you not like it? If you're a band person or if you're in the band, can you relate to this movie? That's the big question I want to know. If you're in the performing arts, is there anything from this film that you say, hey, oh, I've been there. Oh, I recognize this. Do you know someone like Fletcher in your life? Have you ever wanted something so badly that you're willing to go through hell to achieve it? That's what the comment section's for. Comment below to let me know. Like, subscribe. Also, check me out on Instagram. That'll be linked in the description below. Give me a follow. And that's really all I have for you guys. Remember, guys, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next Unpopular Opinion.